Can a cheap little sharpener like this work sharp actually be good enough to use a compound as expensive as Stroppy Stuff? And is Stroppy Stuff actually worth the premium price to begin with? I put both under the microscope and I'll show you exactly what it saw. This is a close-up of the 220 grit plate. I checked the whole plate and I could not find any problems with it. Looking clean is the easy part. Whether it's actually the grit it claims to be, that only shows under measurement. So I took measurements at 4 locations under different lighting conditions. I've tried to measure as exact as possible. So putting it all together, we arrive at a medium of about 82 and a mean of 85. This is slightly high for 220 grit. I would expect them to be around 70. There is quite some variation in the size of diamonds with 3.8% outliers, and those outliers are twice the size of the average. So the stone is not hugely consistent and it runs large. More like 180 grit perhaps. But of course it's meant to reprofile, so I don't really mind. As long as it cuts well, it's just fine for me. So the coarse plate runs big. Now the question is whether the 600 is more true to size. Let's have a look. This is the 600 rated plate. For this one I also could not find any problems, like empty spots or grit contamination. The plate seems to be of high quality. There is no issue whatsoever. So I measured it in 2 locations and I used top lighting here. Why? Because it makes it much easier to do the measurement. It doesn't look as nice, but that's less important. So the reflecting circles you can see around the diamonds are the nickel plating creeping up on the sides of the diamond. So these measurements result in a median of 18 and a mean of almost 19. So this plate has even more variation, as you can see, than the previous one, but a lot less outliers. On the whole, this little plate runs small. For 600 grit, I would expect diamonds to be around 25 micron. These are substantially smaller, but again, not a big issue at all. By the way, if you like sharpening gear actually measured instead of just talked about, that is a big part of this channel, so please subscribe. Okay, so neither plate lands on its rating. One coarse, one fine. But a grit number is just a number. The edge it creates is much more important. So let's put an edge on a knife. To test this, I sharpened this VG10 Dragonfly on it. It had an 80-degree edge, and now it's going to have a 20-degree edge. That's why I'm using the coarse side. One disadvantage of having the leather strop to the side is that you cannot work with a stone lubricant or Windex or water. It would ruin your strop. But yeah, it's a portable device. So its purpose is to get the job done. So it also only has 20-degree guide, which is decent enough angle. And of course, if you do not want to use the guides, you're of course free to do so. So 2 things I noticed right away. It's difficult to sharpen until the heel of the knife. It hits the side. A sharpening shovel is handy when using this device. And second, these cutouts, to remove the plates, they catch my knife. So I prefer to turn the device around so that it's always on the other side. Other than that, the guides work great and it's easy to maintain an angle. For beginners or people with unsteady hands like myself, this works truly great. So I sharpen until I can feel a burr on one side. You can feel it on the other side than on the one you sharpened. I can definitely feel a full burr now from heel to tip. So let's take a look at it. So this is that burr. You can see it's an absolute mess of torrent steel. This, of course, needs to get a lot smaller. A strop won't remove it. It would just completely tear the strop apart. Now, we will do the same thing on the other side. I want to get a roughly symmetrical edge on both sides. So I need to remove some steel. Once I'm happy with that, I can then start with burr minimization passes. I do these passes very, very light to make sure the burr is as small as possible. This device is rather small, so of course it's not as comfortable as full length and width diamond plates, but it's manageable. The knife I've chosen, of course, is rather small. I would think the bigger the knife, the more uncomfortable, but remember, it remains an on-the-go device. So let's take a look to see if we knocked off that burr, and let's take a look at the scratch pattern we created. So yes, This is an absolute beauty. Nothing is straight, it's just going everywhere. And it's coarse, coarse, coarse. It's not perpendicular at all because I went sideways on every pass. I didn't really need to do that. There is actually room enough on this plate, but somehow it got into my head and I did it anyway. Not that it matters much. So this can certainly use some refinement. So I did the exact same thing on the 600 grit side. I will spare you the footage, and that resulted in this edge. You can see the pattern is overwritten and severely refined. It's still a coarse edge with lots of toothiness, but it is more civilized now. So these plates leave you a working edge, coarse but rather clean. Next, the strop. This is the strop. I will load it, but first let's take a look at it unloaded under the microscope. You can see a lot of valleys and mountains. It's quite rough. This will hold a lot of compound. I decided to load the strop with this Stroppy Stuff 9 micron, the orange one. 9 micron is quite aggressive, but I feel it really suits the 220 600 grit setup. You can see I loaded the strop quite liberally. This is, by the way, the first time I use this 9 micron Stroppy Stuff. Now, let's look at the loaded strop. Usually it's very hard to see diamonds on a strop, mainly because of the color of the strop, but because this one is green, it nicely offsets the diamond and they become very, very visible. Now you might think that this is not a lot of diamonds on there. Well, you would be entirely wrong. It is absolutely smothered with diamond, but a lot of it is in the lower regions. This is a very rough strop and there is no light that can properly get there and reflect. But more importantly, does this Stroppy Stuff deliver on what the label promises? Let's use the opportunity to measure this compound and check how true to size it is. As you can see, there is a good amount of diamonds. Let's crush the numbers. The mean is 920 and the median is 9.14. And we have very low standard deviation. Again, I used Tukey for the outliers. There are 3.4% outliers, so I think this is a pretty good result. Of course, I only took 59 measurements, but still, it's very well clustered around that 9 micron target. So I would say, well done, Stroppy Stuff. So the compound is exactly what it says it is. Now the pairing itself. Does this hard little work sharp strop actually let a 9 micron diamond do its job? So I stopped with normal pressure. It's a small strop, so it takes multiple passes to do the entire edge. There is no angle guide here, and perhaps that is a missed opportunity. On the other side, for the ceramic, they did include an angle guide, but not for the strop. Of course, it would make the device much wider and less portable. So I can kind of understand why they did not do that. So now let's take a look at the effect on the edge. So what you see here is after stropping and after washing once. And here is after stropping and after washing twice. Now, this is a very hard strop, and 9 micron is aggressive to strop with. And yes, I can absolutely see some refinement. Now, I did not set out to detect the effects of stropping in this video, and because of that, these pictures have been taken at only 17x magnification with a 20x objective. But still, this is truly the strop's contribution, and it is mostly due to the absolute hardness of this strop. A very hard strop is very important. There is one piece of kit left to account for, and it is this ceramic rod. So, with my unsteady hand, the angle guides are of great use to me. I'm only using the fine side of the rod. So this thing has three sides. You have this thing on which you can sharpen fish hooks. I will never use it because I do not fish. And then you have this corrugated side. So that's a very rough side. I cannot imagine why you would use it. And of course you have this very fine side, and this is the only side I use, and you can see that it has been used already. So here you can see the effect on the edge. So I see clear refinement. The scratch pattern is more perpendicular and finer, and there is also some refinement at the edge. I think it shows this rod is a very nice addition to the system. So here is everything this tool did in one edge. And the answer to what we started with, whether something this cheap ever deserved a compound like Stroppy Stuff. And the answer, for me at least, is a resounding yes. This is absolutely a brilliant tool. The diamond plates allow you to sharpen everything. The ceramic refines and deburrs further, and the strop is very hard and allows for maximum effect on the edge with a minimal chance of convexing the apex. It has everything you need to take care of your pocket knives. The only remark I could possibly make is that it might not be ideal for very large knives. So I have other videos on sharpening equipment, like this review on the Sharpel 202H, and a comparison between DMT and Sharpel plates on the other side here. Or perhaps you might be interested in a comparison between the effect of leather and basswood on the edge. So if you like this video, please subscribe and see you guys later.